The spillway elevation can be defined using a feature line, 3D polyline, or profile. For this workflow, the step offset tool will be used to create the feature line. So it has the same elevation as the berm. Select the pond's berm feature line in the drawing. Then in the feature line contextual menu, select stepped offset. When prompted to specify the distance, enter half of the berm width. This is an arbitrary value, but will make the feature line easier to see and work with. When prompted to specify the side to offset, select a point inward on the pond. When prompted for elevation difference, press enter to accept the default 0 elevation difference. When finished with the throw prompts, the feature line will appear in the middle of the verb and can be identified with the cursor tooltips. To assign a name to the feature line, use the feature line properties. At the top of the dialog, you can see the which side the feature line resides in the drawing. On the Information tab, toggle on Name and specify a unique and meaningful name for the feature line. Assign a style if you want, then click OK to update the feature line. The spillway for this pond will be added to the west side. To notch out the spillway in the feature line, you can use the elevation editor. In the elevation editor, select a vertex to identify it in the drawing. Once you identify the vertex on the west end, select Insert Elevation Point in the Grading Elevation editor. Drag your cursor along the feature line to the side of the vertex where you want to add the spillway and click in the Insert PVI dialog, enter the station and elevation for the bottom of the spillway. For this design, the full spillway depth will be 1 feet and will transition to this depth over 10 feet as measured from the adjacent PIs. After the first elevation point has been added, repeat the same steps for the second elevation point. The elevation points will appear as a circle grips in the drawing and circles markers in the grading elevation editor. When both elevation points have been added, identify them in the drawing by selecting them in the panorama. Make sure the elevation point pass the eye test. Close the grading elevation editor and the panorama to dismiss them from your display. To model the spillway in the corridor, you must first enable the spillway in the assembly. Select the custom assembly in the drawing, then open the subassembly properties. On the parameters tab, change the spillway use option to yes. Click OK to save the changes and close the subassembly properties. To assign the elevation target to the spillway, you will need to edit the corridor. Select the corridor in the prospective toolpath. From the contextual menu, select Zoom to. This will center the corridor into your view display. Access the corridor contextual menu again from the prospector and open the corridor properties. In the corridor properties, on parameters tab, click the ellipsis button in the target column. In the target mapping dialog, on the offset and elevation, select the spillway component under the custom subassembly. Under the feature line list, in the lower right, click the ellipsis button under the details column. In the select entities dialog, toggle on the spillway feature line. When you're all set, click OK. Then click OK to close the target mapping and OK again to close the corridor properties. Rebuild the corridor to update your drawing file. Close the event viewer to view the pond corridor. Notice the appearance of the contours on the west side of the pond. To see what the pond model looks like in 3D, use the object viewer. Pitch and rotate it to view the model from the distant perspective. You have now completed the pond model from this course. Using what you have learned on this course, you can explore similar workflows and tools for your pond designs.